Now we're recording.
Yeah, it says so on
Absolutely.
my screen as well.
Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. This is this is the creepiest I have ever appeared, I believe, possibly in my life, certainly on one of these videos. This is both of us, Rabbi Cece and I, are both here at Temple Sholom, it would appear.
Yes, we are together at the same time, magically.
This is the, make this work? Is there any way it can be less, there we are.
I still think the candelabra behind you adds to the ambiance.
That's the answer. Every week this has changed. 2 weeks ago we were streaming this out, but we were next to each other in the same place. Last week we were in the same place, but socially distant. This week we are in totally different places, except it looks like we're in the same spot, right?
I was feeling really homesick for Temple Sholom, so I redid my home study to look like the chapel.
I believe that is not uncommon. A lot of our congregants wanting to have been in this space that they're so used to being in, have hired contractors, which is good in these troubled economic times. We get to start out this fine Shabbat morning. We are going to start out on page 99 and with Modeh Modani L'Hai Neshama, and I will throw it over live to Bridgewater, New Jersey at Temple Sholom.
And I can magically, the green screen sometimes does funny things with the guitar, so enjoy the show. But we'll take a moment to check in on our soul. I know it's been a rough time for us. It's not easy to live with the uncertainty and with the sort of different change to our routines. But every morning that we wake up and our soul is returned to us is a gift, one worthy of expressing our attitude of gratitude. So we start on page 99 with a moment of thanks for the ability to wake up in the morning, put our 2 feet on the ground, and get started. Whatever our routine may look like, whatever our days may look a little different now, it's still a moment of gratitude, and I want to acknowledge that. So we sing, Mo Da'ani Lefanecha Ruach Chai V'Kayam Shechezarta Bi Nishmati V'Chemla Rava Emunatecha Moda'ani Lefanecha Ruach Chai V'Kayam Shechezarta Bi Nishmati V'Chemla Rava Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tehorahi 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 Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tehorahi.
Lovely. We get to continue along. We are going to do the morning blessings in the Lev Shalom on page 103. Hopefully there's a PDF that we have been able to somewhere associate with this. You can go to the rabbinical.assembly.org website, and there's an option for, search around on the site, there'll be an option for on the left side for downloading a PDF of the Siddur if you don't have one with you. Page 103. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechi mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asa li kol tzorki.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, mozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten layayif koach.
Amen. Wait, we missed the first few.
I did. I just realized that. I'll go back and put them in. I'll put them in now.
Okay,
Baruch
that's it.
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sech bibina lehavchin ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani b'tzalmo.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani bat chorin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish harumim.
Amen.
And now would be a good time to sort of recognize that they're usually done in order of sort of how you wake up in the morning. You hear the rooster crow, you open your eyes, you put your feet on solid ground, you put on clothing. They're meant to mimic the morning routine. We shook up our routine just a little, like right now. Our routine is shaken up. How's that for droshing the moment?
Nice.
Yeah?
Nice.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai uvnua me'afapai, v'yiratzon milefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, shetargilenu b'toratecha v'dabekenu b'mitzvotecha, v'yalteinu lo ותננו היום ובכל יום לכנו חסד ורחמים בעיניך ובעיני חורינו ותגמל עלינו חסדים טובים ברוך אתה אדוני גומל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל.
Amen. And we get to continue along. We'll go for the Psalm for the morning, page 120, page 120.
מזמור שיר חנוכת הבית לדוד, הרי ממך אדוני כי תנתני.
בכי, בבוקר, בינה, אני אמרתי.
הפכת מספדי למחולי, פיתחת שקי ותעזרני שימך, למען יזמך כבוד ולא ידם, אדוני אלוהי לעולם עודך.
This is where we normally would include a mourner's Kaddish, since we're not able to be together with each other. This morning, there's a prayer in place of mourner's Kaddish that we can say, and you can find it on page 30 in the Lev Shalom. It's on way back on page 30 in the far left column. Ribono shel olam Elohei ruchot l'chol basar. Master of the world, God of the spirit of all flesh, it is revealed and known before you that it is my fervent desire to praise your name and to remember and honor my beloved by reciting the mourner's Kaddish in the company of a minyan. My presence today with my community find favor in your eyes and be accepted and received before you as if I had prayed the Kaddish. May your name, Adonai, be elevated and sanctified everywhere on earth. May peace reign everywhere. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Ed. Wherever you may be, we can join in. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru, Amen. And we'll continue along right into Pesukei de Zimra, the Morning Psalms, page 122.
והיה העולם ברוך הוא, ברוך העושה בראשית, ברוך האומר ועושה, ברוך גוזר ומקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריות, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov L'Reyav, Baruch Chalad V'Kayam Manetzach, Baruch Podeh U'Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai Elohim Hamulam Viam Amor, Nalel Chadonai Eloheinu, V'Shavachot uV'Zmirot, Nigadelcha Shabechacha V'Vayecha, V'Nazakir Shimacha V'Namlichacha Malkeinu Eloheinu, Yachid Chei HaOlamim, Melech Meshuvach U'Va'adei Ad Shemo HaGadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Mehulal Batish B'Chol.
Amen. Lovely. We get to continue right along. Let's flip to page 134 for the Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat.
Mizmor shir Shabbat.
Adik k'mar yifrach eretz b'lo v'no nisbeh shetulim v'et Adonai v'chatzot Eloheinu yafrichu od yinu sevat shenim v'ananim yu agid kish Adonai tzuri v'lo avlata. And Ashrei, page 100, and we'll roll right into Ashrei. Ashrei is on page 136, page 136.
Hey, Rabbi Dan, why don't you do the first line and I'll do the every other line.
All right, got it. When you say every other line, you mean rotating line.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha od yalucha selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav, Tehillah leDavid.
Arumim chai melech v'arvacha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
B'chol yom avarcheka v'ahala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai me'od v'ligdoto ein cheker.
Dor lador yeshabach ma'asecha u'gvuratecha yagidu.
Adar kvododecha v'divrei niflotecha hasicha.
Ve'ezuz noratecha yomeru u'gedul adecha saprena.
V'harav tova yaviu v'tzidchacha yaranenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai erech hapayim u'gdol chesed.
Oval nala kol rachma lo kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Od malchucha yomeru gvurotcha yeraberu.
Lehodia livnei Adam gevurotav u'chvod adar malchuto.
Malchutcha malchut kol omim shaltecha b'chol dor v'ador.
Samech Adonai lechol hanoflim v'zokef lechol hakefufim.
Einei kol elech esaberu v'ata noten lachem b'cholam b'ito.
Poteach et yadecha u'mazbiah lechol charatzon.
Adik Adonai b'chol darachav v'chasid b'chol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lechol korav v'chol asher yikra'u ve'emet.
ורצון יאהב יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohavav v'et kol ha'shayim yashmir.
ולעץ אדוני דבר פיו, ואברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
V'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata v'yad olam hallelujah.
And page 141 for Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Elam Kodsho. Hallelujah, Birgi Auzo. Hallelujah, Bigvurata. Hallelujah, Kirov Gudlo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, B'teyeka shofar. Hallelujah b'nevel v'chinor. Hallelujah b'tov u'machol. Hallelujah b'minim ve'ugav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, b'tziltzilei yeshama. Hallelujah, b'tziltzilei teruah. Kol haneshama, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol haneshama, say hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol haneshama, say hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
And we will continue with Shirat Hayam, the Song at the Sea, page 143. If you're sitting, this is where we rise.
Vayar Yisrael et Mitzrayim et Sefat Hayam. Vayar Yisrael et Hayam Gedola Asher Asa Adonai b'Mitzrayim. Vayiru ha'am et Adonai. Vayaminu b'Adonai u'Moshe avdo. Az yashir Moshe u'bnei Yisrael et ashir ha'azut l'Adonai. Vayomru le'mor. Ashir al Adonai, King Oga, Susvirocho Rama Vayam, Ozi Vezimratia, Vayehi Lilishua, Zeli Vionu Eloi Ami, Varam Menahu, Adonai Yishvilchama, Adonai Shemot, Markevot Paro v'Cheila, Yarav Hayam, Umivchar Shalishav, Tubeu v'Yamesu, Tilmol Yechasiyumu, Yardu v'Imsalot Kimo Aven, Yeminacha Adonai, Nedari Bakor, Yeminacha Adonai Tirat Zoyev. Adonai Imloch Le'olam Vaed. Adonai Imloch Le'olam Vaed. Ki l'Adonai HaMelucha Moshel b'goyim ve'alu moshim behar Tzion lishpol et ha'aresav v'hayta l'Adonai HaMelucha ve'haya Adonai melech al kol haaretz v'yamahu yi Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
And we get to roll right into Nishmat, page 145, page 145.
Rabbi Dan, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. A friend of mine wrote a really cool thing for Ilufinu at the bottom of the page.
I like that.
I'm going to just use an opportunity to share that. It's Ilufinu by Cantor David Berger. And I really like this. So it goes like this. Ilufinu malei yeshira kayam. Ilufinu malei yeshira kayam. So that's the chorus. And what I love about it is it actually uses the nusach, the nishma, kolcha. You'll hear that coming in. So it's in the right mode. So I really like that about it. So ilufinu, if our mouths were filled with song as the sea, if all of these things were true, it still wouldn't be enough to be able to express the praise we have for our Creator. So it goes like this. Ilufinu malei shira So that's how it goes. Ve'inenu me'iro ve'amek ha'shemesh ve'chayareach ve'yadeinu b'rishon v'neshorei shamayim Ilufinu malei shira kayam Ilufinu malei shira kayam malei shira kayam Ilufinu malei shira kayam.
Lovely. We'll pick that up. This is towards about 145. Where our mouths filled with songs as the sea, our tongues to sing endlessly like countless waves, our lips to offer limitless praise like the sky, our eyes to shine like the sun and the moon, our arms to spread heavenward like eagle's wings, and our feet swift as deer. We would still be unable to fully express our gratitude to you, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, or to praise your name for even one of the myriad moments of kindness with which you have blessed our ancestors and us. It is a lovely piece, and especially again, like for the author of this, Jewish history hasn't been one unbroken series of moments of kindness, and yet this poem, this piyut, like wants to focus on gratitude for kindness and not for all of the other stuff, and that's a useful frame for a moment that we're in when it is a scary and difficult moment in time, and still asked to try and focus on the positive within it. Continue along. We're going to roll right towards the bottom of page 146 for the end of Nishmat.
ולברך את שם קודשך כאמור, לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני, וכל קרבי את שם קודשו. האל בתעצומות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם,
Shkoach. This is a point.
Sorry.
That's right. We're there. We're good. Keep going. Page 147.
A little bit of lag time. I didn't know if you were saying anything or not. 147, exactly. שוכנן מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נבע תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון החסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור שכן חובת ישראל כל היצרים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו להודות להלל לשבח לפאר לרמם להדר לברך ועלה ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו אל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ ברכות והודות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודות האדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל חי העולמים.
And we last skipped Chatzi Kaddish and the Baruch Hu because we're not all together, though God willing, someday soon we will be all together as a community and able to say things, you know. And I have to say, Rabbi Cece, when you mentioned that there's lag time between where you are at clearly Temple Sholom in Bridgewater and where I am in the same place, like that's one of the unusual things about this period, because that sort of lag time, normally at Temple Sholom, we never experience any sort of, services never lag. There's never been that feeling before within this chapel that that anything's ever been lagging or like somehow like not perfectly timed. So this is just among the unusual moments that we're experiencing now.
Yeah, we never talk over each other or anything like that, ever.
Right. No talking over and no lagging. We get to continue on with Shacharit. The morning service rolls in the blessing for the creation of lights, page 150, page 150.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom, uvorei et hakol. Hakol yadocha v'hakol yeshabchucha, v'chol yamru et kadosh k'Adonai, hakol yamru et Adonai. Ein lekevkecha Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh, v'yein zolotcha malkeinu l'chayei ha'olam haba. Efes b'tocha go'aleinu limot ha'mashiach, v'yein damelech ha'moshienu l'techiyat ha'metim.
Eladon 151.
Hail Adon al kol ha'ma'asim baruch u'mvarach befi kol neshama godlo v'tuva malei olam da'at u'tvuna sovevim oto המתגאל על חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומישור לפני חיסון חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת ובינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם לחיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים מזיף ומפיקים נוגה מעשים בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים יהי רצון לקונם פאר בכבוד נותנים לשמות סהולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה והתקין את צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ויוחנים וחיות הקודש לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים.
Continuation of that first blessing before the Shema, page 152.
תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יברך הסלע.
153.
תתברך צורנו מלכינו וגואלנו בורא קדושים משתבח שמך לעד מלכינו יוצא משרתים כולם אהובים כולם ברורים כולם גיבורים וכולם עושים בהמה ובירם רצון כולם וכולם פותחים בפיהם בקדושה ובתורה בשירה ובזמרה ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא קדוש הוא וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליותר בנחת רוח, בשפה ורבנים הקדושה, כולם כחרונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש, ברעש גדול, מנסים ובטרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ליל ברוך לימו כיתנו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה ליאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות.
Amen. Page 154.
אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ויתרה, חמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו, בעבור אבותינו, שבטחו בך, אבינו מלכנו. ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו למדנו, אבינו הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו. ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, וחרד לבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא פתחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול לסלע. באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
Amen. Page 155. We add the 3 words towards the top of the page because we are not in the presence of a minyan.
El melech ne'eman, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Second paragraph, the Shema 156. The third paragraph, the Shema is in the middle of 156.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית, על כנפי ביתיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
157.
לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וכיסו נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. האמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו, מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו יצור ישועתנו, הודינו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך.
Say yes. The blessing, bridging the Shema and the Amidah continues, the middle of page 158.
משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילה אוסף אלה, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה צרות ישראל, Yehuda v'Yisrael, go aleinu, Adonai tzivot shema, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
And we'll continue with the Shabbat morning Amidah on page 159. So what we do for this is we don't have a minyan, so we won't say the kedusha out loud, but we, and by we I mean she, will read. Will go through her private Amidah out aloud, as it were, so that we can all follow along, or say amen after each one as need be, which is probably the way Maimonides wanted it to happen. Right?
Yeah.
We get to page 159 in the inside column.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Eloi avoteinu, Eloi Avraham, Eloi Yitzchak, v'Eloi Yaakov, Eloi Sarah, Eloi Rivka, Eloi Rachel, v'Eloi Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot, u'Mevii Goelim Nevaneim, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה.
Amen.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ונידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
Amen. And we continue along page 162.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. ישמח משה במתנת חלקו, כי עבד נאמן קראת לו, כליל תפארת בראשו נתת, בעומדו לפניך על הר סיני, ושני לוחות אבנים מוריד בידו, וכתוב בהם שמירת שבת, וכן כתוב בתורתך, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת. לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ולא נתתנו מאלוהינו לגויי הרצון, ולא ינחלתו מלכנו לעובדי פסילים, וגם במנוחתו לא ישכנו ערלים, כי לישראל עמך נתתו באהבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת. עם מקדשי שביעי כולם יצפו ויתענגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת. זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצי ומנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. צווינו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. Love 163.
רצה אדוני אלוהינו בימך ישראל בתפילתם, והשב את עבודה לדביר ביתך, ותפילתם באהבה תגבה ברצון, ותהי רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון.
Amen.
אנחנו לך שאתה אור עלינו ולאי אבותינו עם לעולם ועד. צורכנו מגן מפשענו אתה הוא לדור ודור, נודה לך נספר תהילתך, על החיים המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמתנו והבגודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאות וטובותיך שבכל עת ובערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך.
I'm 164.
היה לכולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים יודוך סלע, ויעללו את שמך באמת, היה לישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות.
Amen. 165.
שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו עלינו כולנו כי אחד ביור ענך. שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Amen. Skoach. Beautifully done as always.
Ose shalom?
Yeah. She's doing the prayer afterward, which is part of the one of the loveliest parts of the Amidah. That's on 166. Yeah, we can do Ose Shalom. Why stop now?
Let's give everyone just a moment for some private prayer. A nice deep breath as we come back together for a little prayer for peace. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imeru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, amen.
Amen. Beautiful. There we are. That's the Shabbat morning Amidah. And at this point, if we were all together here, here at Shul, instead of obviously just the two of us being here at Shul, if everyone were here, we would take out the Torah, we would process around with it, et cetera, et cetera. The Sefer Torah are still there, I've checked.
Are they? Are they there?
Yes. You want to go check?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, now I think about this, we should have put me in the sanctuary to prove we were socially distancing, or perhaps we should have put a picture of the other part of the chapel so it looks like we're standing next to each other in the chapel. Because right now we're sort of occupying the same space, which maybe it's like a Doctor Who thing. I'm not really sure what's happening here.
Good. You were the Doctor Who reference is better than the political reference I was going to make. So thank you for getting us out of that. Right. So the technology will change week to week, I'm sure. But instead of the Torah service, you should read the Torah this week. We all should. This week we'd read Parshat Vayikra, the first portion in the book of Leviticus. That would be this morning's reading. But you can hopefully access that on your own. Willing you have a Chumash or some other source of reading Torah in your home. If not, let me know. We've got like extra.
Also, you can go online. There are lots of resources online. I know that the Rabbinical Assembly has made at least the Eitz Chaim Chumash PDFs available for at least the last couple of parshiot, the last portions, and I'm assuming going forward. There's also a great site, Sefaria, Sefaria, that has all sorts of Jewish texts there. You can find the parsha there. If you Google, weekly parsha, you'll find a lot of stuff. My virtual, My Jewish Learning has a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
It's true. So we'll do that. But what we'll do now is we'll talk Torah for a bit. But it won't just be on Vayikra. Even more, I'm focused this time of year on Pesach because Thursday was Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the beginning of the first month of the year, meaning that Pesach is just as we listen to this a little bit more than a week and a half away. Could that be true?
No. Is it? It's 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. The Seder is Wednesday night, April 8th. And
it's a week and a half away.
Tomorrow morning we'll do a Pesach learning session, so we can talk about adjusting to the reality of what likely will be Zoom Seders or FaceTime Seders, whatever it is that we're going to have to do this year, because we are socially distant, and part of our obligation is to follow all of the health and legal regulations that have been put forth, so that we can limit ourselves, that we can be socially distant this year, so that next year in Jerusalem.
Is it just me who's been wanting to sing Zoom Gali 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 Zoom Gali Gali for the last 2 weeks? Is it just me?
Possibly, but now it's stuck in my head. So, so thank you for that one. Find a song. You'll Google that after Shabbat, I'm sure. I want to talk. Look. So last week was Parshat Chodesh, when we began reading the mitzvot of Purim in the Torah, chapter 12 of Exodus, which is an incredible chapter. And in chapter 12 of the book of Exodus, as the first, they get the command that they should do all the stuff, right? Like take a lamb, keep it with them for the better part of 2 weeks, and then slaughter it and take the blood, put it on the doorpost, have a feast that night. But the night of the 14th of Nisan, which is again corresponding to Wednesday night, the 8th of April this year, the Israelites are all supposed to stay home inside their houses, because if they go out, it's dangerous. This may sound familiar. And one of the striking descriptions of that, is in chapter 12, verse 42. It says, Leil Shimurimhu, Laonai L'Hotziam Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Hu Laila Azeh, L'Adonai Shimurim, L'Chol B'nei Yisrael, L'Dorotam. That night, that was for Adonai, a night of vigil, meaning the night that all of this is going on, that the firstborn are being struck down and the Israelites are eating and sort of locked into their houses, was a night of vigil. Vigil, it's hard to translate that shimurim, but JPS translates vigil from the word vigilance, right? A night when you have to be sharp with what's and aware of what's going on around you. It's a night of vigil for God to bring them out of the land of Egypt. The same night as the Lord's one of vigil for all the children of Israel. Then it's also a night of vigilance, as it were, for Bnei Israel throughout the ages, meaning for all time, meaning that for all time, that night, the night of Passover, is supposed to be a night of vigil. And so this came to mind partly because this is where we're at. Like that image of being inside and fearful of going out because there's danger outside is one that obviously resonates this time, this year in 2020, 5780, as we are inside due to the COVID-19 outbreak. And then the description that how you carry yourself during this time is one of vigilance. And the Torah is comparatively terse on the matter of what it felt like for the Israelites to be inside on that night. What was it like to be in when you knew there was danger out? So what I wanted to talk about with you, Rabbi Cece, were partly like thoughts on this matter. Like what do we learn from having that midrashic opening, the opening of like wondering like, what was that like, that first Pesach in Egypt?
You know, it must have been very scary, right? Like it must have been, I can't imagine, right? Like think about everything that has happened up until that point, right? They've experienced the 10 plagues, whether or not, you know, the darkness affected them. They saw it affecting their Egyptian neighbors, whether or not they in some way were affected by the blood, the frogs. You know, our Midrash sort of teaches us that the Israelites were sort of exempt from those plagues, that they didn't really get hit with them, but they saw them. Like there's a lot of very scary things happening around them that seem out of their control. So I can only imagine for people who may have just only recently rediscovered their faith, right? It's only just now that they've called out to God themselves and found their own faith, that faith is a little shaky. And as we know, spoiler alert, going forward, even in the midst of all the miracles that God shows them, they have a hard time believing. So I wonder what it was like to sit in that room and be ready to go, right? What did God tell us to do that first night? What were we required to do?
We were to eat, and we were supposed to eat like as if like ready to travel, right? Like you're supposed to have the sacrifice, staff in hand. I believe the way it's translated in most Kumashim is your loins girded.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means. It means you're traveling. I think it means you're traveling clothes on.
Yeah.
But if you want, like before you leave the house, anytime, like to say to whoever it is you leave the house with, be like, "You got your loins girded on? Let's go."
I think it means you've been homebound and you haven't been wearing pants. I had to do it again. I had to.
I don't want to, but no, I'm fully aware. Right, like they're ready to go. They're supposed to tell the story that night. By the way, the part of the greatness of it is like before they're gone, they're already talking about this. Which is again a very Jewish moment of like, but before the stories even happened, they're telling the story. So important is relating the experience. But what you say, I think, is instructive, which is that they must have been scared. There's no way they're not scared, because part of the experience is imagining the shouts from their neighbors, even if Egypt seemed to have been segregated, right, as it were, meaning the Israelites over here, the Egyptians are over there, but they would have heard the screams, and that the fear of what's going on there, and that's
right.
part of why. There's one last thought. There have been some higher ups in the government have, I think, wisely said when asked how should people deal with their fear at times like this, have said, don't be afraid, be vigilant. And that's almost like I feel like taken right out of this scene where God says to people whose natural reaction would be fear, this is a night of vigilance, meaning you got to be sharp about. You have to keep your head about what's going on.
Right. Taking care and being cautious, but not being afraid. But I also want to acknowledge that fear is a legitimate human emotion, because imagine being stuck in your home and you know that, but for the fact that you smeared some blood on your doorpost, there's this angel of death coming around. I want to just acknowledge that while it's better to be vigilant than fearful, if you're fearful, that's a legitimate emotion. And a legitimate human one. And what comes to mind for me is, of course, a musical reference. There's a piece from Newsies where Davy says, courage cannot erase our fears. Courage is when we face our fears. And I think that the Passover night is about that, we're not going to erase those fears. We're going to face them. And we're going to gird our loins, and we're going to take our staff in hand, and we're going to be ready to go at a moment's notice, dropping everything, not even having enough time to let the matzah turn into real bread, and be ready to go. But I think there's also another piece of this. What happens at the end of the story, right? Mitzrayim is called the narrow place, right? Mitzrayim, Egypt in Hebrew is narrow place. And so we're coming from this narrow place into a place of freedom and redemption, right? Spoiler alert, what happens next? We cross the sea, we leave. God, of course, my lawn guy has to be working outside the door right while I'm doing this. Can you hear that?
Not hugely so.
Okay, I just hear he's very distracting. He's blowing leaves, of course. But at this very moment, right, we have to be ready to go at a moment's notice. We're out the door. Pharaoh's army chases us down. We're about to cross the sea, and we cross the sea. But what do we have with us, Dan? So what did you say? Girded loins. What else?
Staff in hand.
Yeah.
Sandals on our feet.
And sandwiches, like matzah sandwiches, right? We didn't have enough time to pack the house, right? But what else did the women, and Miriam in particular, bring with them?
Well, we only get it by reference going back, right? It says at the far side of the sea, Miriam and the women take out their timbrels, right? There you are. Nice timbrel that is appearing and disappearing. Right, which means
somebody had the forethought, and Rashi says this, that Miriam had the forethought to say, there's going to come a time where we are going to be praising God. On the other side of all of this, we're going to come through it, and we're going to need these. We're going to need our musical instruments, because we're going to celebrate. That right now we're in a narrow place. Right now we're in a scary place. Right now we're being vigilant. We are facing our fears. But on the other side of this, yes, we don't have enough time to pack our houses, but we have to pack our musical instruments. And to me, the musical instruments aren't just musical instruments. They are symbols of hope. They are symbols symbols, that's a musical instrument. But they are symbols of hope that at the other end of this, we will get through it. And while we are on Passover night, even back in our Egyptian ancestors were sitting there. They were in a fearful place. They were scared of what was going on outside, but even they knew that they would get through it. And on the other side, they would be able to celebrate and sing and dance and community celebrate once again as a community. So it wasn't just a musical instrument that Miriam brought. Miriam brought hope.
That's great for this moment, right? Because there are two things that are going on. One is being prepared for things to go wrong, right? This is the hoarding instinct that we have of like sort of like stocking up on things as soon as we think it's going to go bad, which is you should be prepared for things to go wrong. But what you're referring to is the flip side of that coin, which is that you also have to be ready for things to go right, and you have to be prepared for things to change on a dime. And that the sort of like bringing of the timbrels, because there'll be a day when they celebrate, knowing in the midst of death that this is still the case, that there'll be moments which are different, and knowing that everyone was ready to get there. That I always think, and for me, it's an emotional thought, that thinking about after this dark night when they huddled in surrounded by death, where it could not have been darker, and there couldn't have been anything but a great deal of fear. And then when the morning came, like word got out that it's time to leave, and we have to leave now. And that image of everyone just standing up and being like, hundreds of years, our entire lives has been only this, and now we've got to go. And you have to be ready. You have to be ready for that moment when it comes. So those things, that's part of this core message of Pesach, is that we're not remembering for the sake of remembering. It's not about remembering history, though there's some of that too. It's, as Jonathan Zach says, it's taking 3 dimensions of time and putting them into one moment. We remember the history, but then we live liberation in the present by feasting and having a nice meal and all these other sorts of things, but we do it in order to make sure that we live with hope for the future. And it's all of that combined into one. The timbrels capture that, the vigilance captures that, and like making sure that we tell the story captures that. So it's going to be an odd Passover. It's going to be a really odd Passover, but we do it in a strange way. Well, you're supposed to do it strangely every year so that people ask questions.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, and it's an opportunity for us to feel close to those ancestors and their experience, right? We say we don't say them. We say we were the ones who were slaves in Egypt. It was us who left Egypt, and it was us who crossed the sea, and us who stood at Sinai. It was we, actually. It was we who stood at Sinai. And this, especially at a time when our Pesach and our Passover will not look the way we want it to. We acknowledge that. This is an opportunity, right? Again, we make the most of what we are faced with, and this is an opportunity to really have that emotional memory that we ourselves saw ourselves coming out of Egypt. We can experience that again for better or for worse. This is where we are, and it gives us a sense of empathy towards our ancestors and towards others in the world.
Amen. And living with that sense of hope and that sense of empathy is part of the core of Pesach. And all of this bring forward in over the next week and a half-ish as we prepare for what might be one of the more unusual Passovers of our lives. Hopefully we'll live with that spirit of hope and not just that spirit of vigilance, though that's also necessary in these times.
Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Cece. We should wrap up. Musaf, we encourage you to do. You should do it on your own, but let's sing ourselves out, right? Let's Adon Olam ourselves out. Adon Olam is easily found in this Siddur on page 211 in the Lev Shalem, or in other Siddurs on other pages, equally valid pages. Special about 211.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Li'eta Asa V'chatzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kiflot HaKol לבדו, ימלוך נורא, והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו, להחמירה, ולרעשי, ולתכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי, וחי גואלי, בצור חבלי, ויהי צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. בידו
אפילו
יאירה, והיא ברוכי יביאתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. Adonai
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, and have a peaceful Shabbat. You should be blessed with good health and and keep it together. These are difficult times, but we'll get through it. Again, we're supposed to live in hope.
I've got my Timrel.